Welcome to CTV News Your Canada. It's Tuesday, June 10th. We'll bring you profiles of fascinating Canadians and stories about your community. Thanks for watching.
5F to the front of the school. Thank you.
Usually, you would find recess taking place out here. Instead, the grounds of St. Teresa Catholic School became the medieval village of Ultima Examen. These students, now villagers, their village facing many issues, including a contaminated water supply.
We think one of the pigs got into it and broke the main feed, and she drank it and went cross-eyed for over a week now. So we're trying to fix things, and these kids luckily are very helpful and great at science so far.
That's scientific expertise, no accident. St. Teresa grade 8 students have divided into teams with their own crests and chants.
1, 2, peace! Crystal Cavern, we are true! We have magic, how about you? On guard!
In order to help the villagers win points, and with each stop they make, study for their final exams.
Instead of being in class, reviewing notes or things like that in preparation for exams, which begin shortly for them, it's just a way to make it kind of connect deeper.
Scott Hebert calls this a gamification of the classroom, especially needed to detach from ever-present technology and the lingering effects of the pandemic.
We get to dress up and have a camp and eat good food. It's awesome.
When you take a bit of a different creative approach to education, you can get such a different buy-in than just the traditional desk seats rows.
Students prevented the bubonic plague, fought dragons, practiced their archery, and built boats. What's been your favorite challenge so far today?
Probably the sword fighting arena. That one's pretty fun.
Maybe those are too kiddie.
When you learn by doing, kids tend to just have it stick a lot more.
These students say they'll remember their notes a lot better this way. They'll also remember their day in Ultima Examen. In Sherwood Park, Connor Hogg, CTV News.
Performing in the Canadian Museum of History, Gatineau artist David Dufour is surrounded by inspiration.
From my side, from a Quebec artist perspective, there's the poetry, the lyrics, so that were written. So I can name lots of artists that I've seen here, like Pierre Flynn, Robert Charlebois, who are great influences. Gilles Vigneault, Félix Leclerc, but also I've been also influenced with Leonard Cohen's poetry also.
All Canadian artists on display at the museum's new feature exhibit, retro popular music in Canada from the 60s, 70s, and 80s.
The exhibition explores popular music in Canada during the 60s, 70s, and 80s, which was a time where it really became a major cultural force. So the exhibition includes artists, songs, moments from this period.
From Rush to Celine Dion, Mitchie Me, and more.
There are over 160 objects, things like musical instruments, stage clothing, handwritten lyrics, album covers, posters.
This is a jogging suit type outfit that Anne-Marie wore in performance during the 1970s.
This guitar donated by Saskatchewan band, the Northern Pikes.
He wrote the song She Ain't Pretty, which became a very popular commercial song on that guitar, as well as many, many other great songs.
Watching her leave, I heard the bartender say, she ain't pretty, she just looks that way.
Music is connection, so when you look at it, any guitar or any musical item you see in here, it's an item of connection. It connects people, and I think that's absolutely brilliant. It's so cool.
Decades of history on display to inspire the next generation of Canadian music.
As a hip-hop artist, you sample lots of music from these eras, like specifically the 60s and 70s sound. It's a specific sound you want to have sometimes in your samples.
The exhibition is on at the Canadian Museum of History until January 2026. Dylan Dyson, CTV News.
Caitlin Boumelis and Mike Burrell are looking for birds in Bruce County, but this isn't an idle hobby. They're leading a cross-Ontario bird data collection project.
The Atlas Project is a community science project where a bunch of volunteer birders and Atlas staff all go out and try to document Ontario's breeding birds. And essentially, we're trying to figure out their distribution and their abundance across the province, which is a huge province, as you find out when you're trying to cover it all.
Collecting data for Ontario's breeding bird atlas happens every 20 years and takes 5 years to complete. This is year 4 of data collection for this bird atlas, where the province is broken up into 10 by 10 kilometer sections for over 2,000 volunteers and atlas organizers to find and document as many birds as possible. This year's bird atlas will have the benefit of the digital age, specifically the Nature Counts app, which eliminates paper and pen documentation in favor of a new app developed in partnership with Birds Canada.
You don't need to even know where you are. Your phone has the built-in GPS, so it records exactly where you are, knows what time it is, what day it is. So it gets all that information for you, and it just makes collecting the data so simple. It really makes us not only be able to collect better data, but a lot more information as well.
It knows where you are, obviously it knows the time, date, location, and then you can just get to surveying without having to enter all that data later, which is honestly super helpful.
This is the 3rd Ontario Breeding Bird Atlas, which means there is bird data dating back to 1981. Burrell says bird health and abundance is usually a good indicator of how Ontario's entire ecosystem is functioning or not functioning.
Species like Canada geese and wild turkeys and red-bellied woodpeckers are doing great. Their numbers are just so much higher than they were 40 years ago, 50 years ago. But other birds, like some of the grassland birds, some of the species like swallows that feed on insects in the air, the aerial insectivores, as we call them, some of those are not doing so well.
Bumella says data collection should wrap up next year for Ontario's 3rd bird atlas, and the final results will be released by 2027. The information is vital, she says, for all Ontario stakeholders. Near Chesley, Scott Miller, CTV News.
25 years ago, the Blue Nose Academy, or the Academy of Lunberg Academy, partnered with the town of Lunberg, and they put a time capsule together to bury it after Y2K, after everybody made it through, Y2K, and we were all still here. They buried it on Lunberg's birthdays, which is June 7th, 2000. There's some pretty neat pictures in there from all the classes in the Blue Nose Academy back in 2000. So a lot of the counselors, a lot of my colleagues on council have kids in those classes, actually. There's a letter in there from the Prime Minister Jean Chrétien of 2000, and then there's a document of all the town committee minutes and staff members and bylaws. That's in a binder, which is really neat, from 2000. So there's just some neat stuff, and then kids put things in there, memorable pieces. So again, it's just a neat thing for the community to all participate in.
25 years ago, Max was 16 months old. And wherever my dad went, who was the deputy mayor of Lunberg at the time, wherever Dad went, Max went. So at the time of the burying of the capsule, there's a picture of Dad holding Max at the time, and Max putting in an envelope of personal things for he and Max. And apparently, there's a letter inside that Dad had written for Max.
Yeah. I haven't seen it. No, I haven't seen it. Yeah, it's just nice to be back 25 years later, still here, and yeah, just excited to see what I put in it.
So our plans are to take the table of items and show them off in the town hall in the front entrance somewheres for probably a month. Then people that had put things in it 25 years ago, if they want to come look through the table and take their personal items back, they can. And then our plan is to refill another time capsule in the fall when we celebrate our 30th anniversary of UNESCO, sometime in hopefully September.
If you've ever wanted to play on the site of a former airport, the Plaza at YZD might be for you. Featuring a decommissioned airplane, originally built on the site and now functioning as a play area for kids, the new public space also includes 5 airplane fuselage carts turned into giant planters, repurposed lights from the former airport's taxiway, and an old sink from the Bombardier facility, now functioning as a water installation.
And we've reimagined them as objects of play and objects that can be taken over through city nature in order to create a space for the community to gather, for farmers markets to happen, for our winter skating rink to happen, and to give people this interactive moment with the history of this site.
It's all part of the 30-year transformation of the 370 acres that were once Downsview Airport. A mix of residential, commercial, and cultural spaces are planned, but until they're built, there are also a number of temporary installations like the Plaza and the nearby 50,000-seat Rogers Stadium, set to open later this month.
Some of these spaces will be here for a number of years, in some cases a number of decades. And so it's a really kind of, I think, innovative way of redeveloping space where we're thinking about what are we going to do long term, but for the places that sit empty, what can we do with them until such time that they're going to be redeveloped to make them meaningful for the community?
The plaza is meant to offer a place for people to gather, but also a spot for the developers behind the site to learn about how people use public space as they prepare for the long-term future of the former Downsview lands. Scott Lightfoot, CTV News.
Members of the audiovisual and music industries say their voices and images are being used to train generative AI systems without permission nor payment.
Well, that's stealing. That's piracy.
Tanya Contoyani, president of the Union des Artistes, says her members are not getting paid for their work.
The deal right now is these big companies telling us, you know what, you artists, I'll take your work. I'll make a great deal of money out of it. You won't even notice, but I'm not going to pay you for that. So it's kind of absurd what we're accepting right now.
The UDA and 5 other organizations announced their Manifesto for the Protection of Authentic Creation. Calling for protection, their art principle would require authorization from the artist when their work is being used in AI, remuneration, payment for the work, and transparency, meaning the audience would be advised AI is in use.
We want them to recognize our copyrights, our royalties, because artists, that's how they make a living out of their work.
The unions want provincial and federal policymakers to step on the brakes of AI in arts and culture. Mathieu Lacombe, Minister of Culture and Communications, says the National Assembly will continue discussions in the fall.
De protéger les droits des artistes, des créateurs et la création humaine.
The artists and the government agree. Human creativity will suffer when an entire production can be made by AI. Christine Long, CTV News.
The signs are updated and security is tight for the G7 Leaders Summit in Kananaskis.
We're obviously talking about thousands of security personnel. We have a lot of RCMP officers, but also other agencies under the Integrated Safety and Security Group.
The village will be locked down starting Tuesday. Leaders from some of the largest economies in the world will meet in the Rockies in less than a week. But for most of the nearly 4,000 international delegates and journalists, Calgary will be their landing spot. The city hopes the summit can also serve as a showcase.
It highlights Calgary as a serious player when it comes to investment, innovation, and international dialogue. It showcases Calgary as Canada's energy headquarters.
The city will distribute welcome bags to dignitaries, including local coffee, chocolate, soap, and buffalo jerky. All leaders will also get a white hat, though there will not be formal ceremonies. Security protocols are preventing any hat handovers similar to when the Smith-Bilts were given at the G8 in 2002.
Our hope was to be the welcoming city that we know we are and to treat our visitors with grace and respect. And so whatever form that was going to take, we were happy to work within it.
10,000 hotel bookings are tied to the Leaders Summit, and it's estimated the event will bring upwards of $240 million in economic boost across Alberta. But security will be heightened within the city as well. Near the airport, road closures, no stopping zones, and a tunnel shutdown will happen later on this week.
Is that the airport is open and operating throughout the summit, and there's no need to alter or rethink travel plans. People will, however, see an increased security presence in and around the airport.
Jordan joins us now from City Hall with more. Jordan, protests are expected in the city for the summit.
Well, Camilla, several are planned for this weekend and into the early parts of next week. Municipal Plaza at City Hall right behind me is one of the designated protest zones here in the city, along with an area in East Victoria Park and another zone up near the airport. Now, protest groups and security officials that we spoke to, wouldn't give a number on how many protesters, how many people they're expecting to come to the city during the G7 summit. But we do know part of the security plan is to bring in additional police officers from cities such as Edmonton and Vancouver to deal with the extra amount of people that are coming. And we know the Chamber of Commerce says that some of the large companies downtown are telling employees to work from home if they can on Monday and Tuesday, as protests, road closures and slowdowns are expected to be happening throughout the summit. Camilla?
Jordan, thank you so much.
After the air show's drone show lit up the Barrie sky with more than 200 drones Friday night, Saturday was a nearly perfect day for flying, with thousands on the ground gearing up for the spectacle in the air.
It's a sense of pride for all of the residents that are here. Everyone really, really loves seeing it every year.
The CAF Skyhawks once again led things off, skydiving from thousands of feet and touching down at South Shore Park. They were followed by a trio of other returning performers, the Edenvale Classic Tiger Moth and Cornell, the CH-146 Griffin helicopter, and the 4 CHAA Harvards.
By North American Aviation.
They're within probably 10 or 15 feet. They practice this constantly. They're a local group out of Tillsonburg, and this is what they do.
Then it was a trio of newcomers, Trevor Rafferty in his custom-built Pitts Model 12, a T-33 jet, and Mike and Sam Trigvason, a married wing-walking couple. But then it was the jet performance heard across the city. The CF-18 Hornet roared back into the air show, pulling upwards of 5 Gs and nearing the sound barrier at Mach 0.95, according to air show officials.
The F-18 is still a truly beautiful aircraft to fly. We've got a lot of upgrades that are continuing to go on it, and it's still a formidable force.
The fighter jet was grounded on Sunday, however, due to a mechanical issue. The performances on both days wrapped up by the Northern Stars in their 3 Pitts S2Bs.
It's a huge, huge tourism impact for our downtown businesses and for everybody here. It's nice to see the city alive and busy and just so many people here enjoying Barrie and seeing how great Barrie is.
According to the city, that tourism impact from last year's air show is an estimated 140,000 people and $11 million. City staff say they expect similar numbers this year and that they will know more about them closer to September. Mike Lang, CTV News, Barrie.
On the first Friday of every month, Bushwhacker Brew Pub brings out a special keg aiming to bring the community together.
It's offering people something new, something fun. We always get somebody to tap the firkin. Perhaps you're celebrating a birthday or a promotion or an anniversary.
In part of recognizing the anniversary of D-Day, a Royal Canadian Navy in Regina tapped the firkin on June 6th to unveil a special Navy-inspired craft beer.
We produced a very special beer involving our Regina Pale Ale, toasted oak, and sailors really like their rum, so Pusser's Navy Rum was also part of this special beer we created today.
To help commemorate the Allied forces who landed in Normandy, France 81 years ago during the Second World War, sailors from HMCS Queen are participating in the long-standing tradition of First Firkin Friday at Bushwhackers. As the Regina Rifles were instrumental in the landings at Juno Beach, one sailor says it is critical to honor the history collaboratively.
The Navy is the community. That's where our people come from. That's where we recruit from. It's very important that we have close ties with the community to better foster our relations between us so we can continue to exist and help our people out.
Although it's a first for a military unit to take part in the event, HMCS Queen says it will not be the last time sailors visit the local brewery, as a model of the HMCS Regina ship will be unveiled later this year.
It's going to be coinciding with a namesake city visit where we have 8 to 12 members of the crew of HMCS Regina will fly to Regina, Saskatchewan, and present the model at that event.
Seared Sousa Butts, CTV News, Regina.
Southern Ontario covered in a heavy haze last week, the aftermath of raging wildfires in Northern Ontario and Western provinces.
So the smoke from the wildfires, it all builds up into the atmosphere and it's transported through
the winds.
Air quality health index levels climbing dangerously high.
Air quality health index numbers of 10 or even 10 plus were experienced.
Staff at the School of Optometry and Vision Science at the University of Waterloo say they've been seeing more people complaining about eye issues, and the smoke from those wildfires could be to blame.
So smoke is an irritant, and so irritants coming in contact with your eyes can cause inflammation.
Inflammation you can feel, especially if you already have sensitive eyes.
Feel a lot like dry eyes, which can be red, gritty, watery eyes. If it's an allergic response, it's often associated with significant amounts of itching, along with redness and tearing as well.
There are things you can do to keep your eyes safe in smoky situations.
You can do it by using ear purifiers. You can use it by using sunglasses or wraparound glasses that prevent contact on the ocular surface.
Artificial tears can also help.
These are lubricating eye drops that can be placed on the surface of the eyes. They help to flush out the irritants.
Region of Waterloo Public Health says it's not just eye health to watch out for.
You can experience a range of health outcomes, ranging from feeling fatigue, getting out of breath more easily, and just not feeling well.
There are some groups that are more at risk for health complications than others.
People who are elderly, those who are very young, people with underlying heart conditions and lung conditions, people who are pregnant.
On Monday afternoon, a clearer view up high. Environment Canada says Waterloo Region is likely to be less smoky for the next few days.
The smoke is no longer making its way to the surface, so concentrations of smoke and particulate matter has decreased over the area, pretty much all of southern Ontario for that matter.
As for those still feeling the negative effects, experts say consult a physician if your symptoms persist, even after blue skies return.
As mentioned, Environment Canada says it is expected to be a lot less hazy and gray over the next few days, but that is as far as they could predict, so anything could happen for the rest of the week. Now, experts say to make sure you keep checking the air quality health index to make sure it is safe to be outdoors. Tony.
It's important information. Okay, CTV's Heather Centerin with an update for us. Heather, thank you.
As Kathy Gagnon looks back on when her son Robert was cast alongside John Travolta as a baby double in Look Who's Talking 2,
Robert's got the nicest smile.
she recalls how the movie's other star, Kirstie Alley, asked her a concerning question.
She asked me if I ever had Robert's hearing tested.
Her boy was interacting with others differently than the other kids on set. But rather than being deaf, Robert was eventually diagnosed as being on the autism spectrum.
So I tried to find out all the information I could. That was the way I coped with it.
And instead of trying to fix a problem, Kathy and her husband were compelled to support their son's unique potential, which led Robert to discover a pinball machine for the first time.
Wow. Is this some really cool, like, high-tech toy? It felt good. It felt adventurous.
An adventure where, after learning how to make the ball go wherever he wanted it to go, Robert was the hero.
The excitement is always fun for me. It makes me feel in the zone.
And Robert's talent transformed the pinball-loving boy
It's kind of like the autism would disappear. He was just so focused on the machine.
into a real-life pinball wizard.
And he would attract people, and he seemed to enjoy it.
Robert proved to be so passionate about pinball and so good at playing it, he started amassing machines and winning tournaments on both sides of the border before entering the World Championships as a contender.
The quality of the best play in the world under a pressure situation from Robert Gagnon.
Oh, it felt amazing. This ball could be worth $10,000 American. This is like a dream.
A dream, after competing against the best pinball players on the planet, that Robert made a reality by winning the Worlds.
It felt really cool, actually, to be called world champion. We got that beautiful trophy.
While Robert continues to win tournaments, be embraced by the pinball community, and earn fans around the globe, what Kathy is most grateful for is that her unique boy has grown up to be a happy man.
And when he smiles, his whole face just lights up. And to see that, I think that's what made me the most proud.
Adam Sawatsky, CTV News, Burnaby.